Wow. Unbelievable. This is a work of art, yes? It's tremendous. You don't expect that someone can make a work of art out of just everyday tools, yeah? Okay, well, we're here in the house of Mr. Guartelli, and when I was invited to come, I did not know what to expect. I knew he was a collector, and I think his great idea, his piece of unique vision, was to have many things that were all the same and put them all on one wall. If you look at just one object, well, it's interesting, but when you see 100 of the same object, all small variations, then you get an idea of how things sort of evolved in a sort of Darwinian evolution way, because we see in this house the technology of normal people, farmers and people who were working on the land, and you see them in all different ways that they developed ingenious ways of working. We see lathes, which are where they work with their feet before electricity. So in many ways this is a museum which tells us about the technology that predates machinery, electricity and the steam engine. It's the technology of one person, one person's power.
Io voglio sempre far venire fuori l'uomo che c'è dietro dagli oggetti, altrimenti acquistano, diciamo, lo stesso valore che ha la selce, di cui non sappiamo niente, non sappiamo neanche come facevano a farlo.
I think it will also be a sort of stimulus for other people to recognize the things that they have, that they probably would have thrown away, are actually very valuable and will be valuable for future generations. So, in a sense, this is a museum not of special things, but of things that ordinary people have. Many of the things that we have in our everyday lives, for instance, let's say this camera, when it no longer works, what do we do with it? There's nothing we can do with it. Almost all the parts are not usable again. If we look around this museum, almost all these implements can still be used. They were tools that people used. We could sharpen them and they could be basically recycled. So we've now moved, I think in the last 20 or 30 years, and particularly in the last 10 years, to a world which is full of non-recyclable things. And I think many of the companies that produce technological devices and things of this nature have to work out how those things can be recycled. It's interesting to look at this place because many of the things of the 19th century were used time and time again. We saw shoes that were stitched together when they were broken. We saw what that ordinary people, what a tough life it was. We saw shoes that children had to wear one day on the left foot, the next day on the right foot, just so that the sole was evenly worn, so that they could eke it out. Now, I don't know. One child or somebody may have 25 different pairs of shoes. Some people have hundreds of pairs of shoes. We have loads of clothes. So the whole approach in modern life really is a bit disturbing. Another thing that one gets from this museum is that all the material was from here. There were trees. We see things are made of wood. We see things are made of stone. We see even a chair, a seat, which was obviously had a certain shape that a gentleman sat in, and it had the right shape for him to be comfortable. That was made into a chair. We don't do that anymore. We don't develop a sort of ingenuity to use the material that's around us. If we don't have anything, then we just don't have it. If we can't buy it in a shop, then we don't have it. Whereas here we see ingenuity all the way around. Things were made by local craftsmen. They made them out of whatever they could get hold of.
For a man who had this problem today.
Well, it's so cold, I think I've got this problem too.
Okay,
I gotta get up.
No.
If I sat there much longer, I'd be frozen. Again, I think it's useful for children to come here and then think about how they themselves can actually use their ingenuity to make something out of the things that they have, which they can use for something else, make toys for themselves. We see toys which are just made out of nutshells. We see these sort of curtains which are made out of shells. Everything around us is actually makeable by individuals. That's not the case anymore because we're so dependent on mass production of fantastic technologies about, to some extent, things that we don't understand. And that, I think, presents a problem. I think that we need to help our children to understand the technology that's around them. That's not easy. Oh, he actually has a bed. Yeah. he certainly had a lot of clocks. It is. So this was his where he lived. I feel that I have a mission, and other people that have a mission to really show the young that their life is rather easy, that they shouldn't take it for granted, and that maybe if we're not careful, it may not be possible for their easy way of life, their luxurious way of life, to continue unless they put something into it themselves. This is a museum, not just for me to see for myself how things were before the turn of the century, but for our children to recognize that their life was built on the hard work of people in earlier centuries. I mean, this is a work of art.
Yes, is it?
Yeah, I think so. It's a very unusual work of art, but Andy Warhol would have loved this.
Oh, yeah.